motivating people through change or through transformation. So it's one of the most difficult aspects, from our opinion, in leadership. So as a leader, motivating people as your business or your enterprise goes through change, managing that human side can be really, really difficult. Let's face it, most people are resistant to change because it brings about doubt, fear, indecision, any of which can truly paralyze your team. So I think really getting this right is very important from a leadership perspective. So one of the most important things when you're navigating change or any period of change is really to remember that human element of the change. And there are several things that you can do as a leader to help manage this. So the first thing I always like to consider as a leader that's going through a transformation or a significant business alteration or movement is make sure you make clear the reasons why your business or you are driving the change agenda you're driving. Because for people, not understanding the reasons for the change is one of the quickest ways to really hurt their motivation. Because if a business is going through a transformation, everybody, whether you like it or not, needs to understand why it's happening and what to expect in terms of outcomes, benefits, challenges. And this will enable people to really understand what it is that they need to work through the period of disruption. This will also ensure that they become a little bit less frustrated or disillusioned, and they have a clearer understanding of the reasons behind the change. The next one, which is really important, is making sure people know how they will specifically be affected. So when change takes place in a workplace, most people automatically think, whether you like to believe it or not, how's this going to impact me? However, there are a few people who will come out and actually ask you that question. Most people will take the time to reflect on it and answer for themselves how it's going to impact them. So rather than focusing solely on the business, make sure you get to people one-on-one to understand how it's going to impact them or their teams. Remember that as a leader, it's easy to communicate one way. It's harder to receive communication back the other way. So two-way communication is really, really important when it comes to change. So as with any aspect of people management, communication will make or break whether or not the change program keeps the team motivated. Clearly explaining the reasons for the change and how your people are going to be affected is just the first step. Providing regular updates on the project or the change program is also really, really important. But remember that new questions and concerns will continue to come up and emerge. So you need to keep checking in, keep leaning in, and keep that two-way communication constantly going. Honesty is always the best policy. So my next bit of advice is, through change or transformation, make sure you are honest. Never try to sell negative change as a positive one, because it just won't cut it and it kills your credibility. So chances that your employees will immediately see through your spin, they'll resent you for it, and they'll be less inclined to buy into the change program. So if the change is negative, be honest about it. Be honest about the reasons why it's difficult and why it's a necessity and why the business, if it doesn't do it, what are the implications? And if the change is short-term, negative effects will ultimately lead to a positive result. So be upfront about those negative effects, and you understand that it's going to be hard and all the rest of it. But ultimately, you believe it's for a better outcome overall. They'll actually respect you for that. And then last but not least, something as leaders we often miss is make sure that you make room for individuals. Not everybody's going to receive the message the same way. One of my greatest quotes or sayings that I love and I repeat all the time is different equals different. And there's no difference when it comes to change. Remember that people are all different, so they'll receive and interpret things differently. So if you're making significant changes to your organization, there's no single timeline for getting all of your people on board. Some will understand the reasons and start working towards those almost immediately, and they'll be positive, while others might take some time to come around. They might judge you on some of the merits of the program and what have you. Give people the time and the freedom they need to actually work with you, to ask the questions they need to make, and make sure that you're always available for them to answer any questions. Above and beyond this, I actually think if you can cover these four elements, you're going to have a pretty successful transformation program. So let's get out there, keep communicating with our people, and I hope that adds some value for you.